Thanks for staying with us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, we'll start this bulletin with a controversial report. The NDC minority in Parliament is tonight wading into the raging controversy over alleged deep involvement of top government officials in illegal mining following the explosive report by the former Environment Minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng, who was also the chairman of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, had named many top government officials and affiliates in a report to the President Akufo-Addo. Now, one of the people he accuses is the President's cousin, Gabi Darko. Well, he alleges that Mr. Darko used his influence to intervene on behalf of the mining companies CNJ, Alaska and Heritage Imperial Mining Co. Limited when they were found engaging in illegal mining. Well, this is an allegation he has since denied.
Very unprofessional to drop a name on a matter that was purely about a lawyer asking questions about his client. My lawyer comes to me and says that his client, with all these permits and licenses, goes on site with equipment to do prospecting, and the soldiers have come to seize the equipment. Now, what do you do as a lawyer? So I call the minister for clarification. I have a client who has all the documents or permits and licenses required to do prospecting, everything. And he goes on site, and then soldiers come to basically stop, not just stop them from working, but seize all the equipment. So I asked the minister, but they have permits, so what really, I want to understand the issue. And then the minister fires back and says, they are not prospecting, they are mining. Are you challenging the permit as fake? I said, no, but it shouldn't have been issued. I said, yeah, but that's a different matter. But I just want to understand really what the issues are. Is it that, so essentially, he gave me his side of the story, which is that he believes that what they were doing was mining, not prospecting, even though they had just gone on site. And that was the conversation that we had.
Well, but in his latest rebuttal, Professor Frimpong Boateng made further disclosures. Now, he claimed that through the intervention of the president's cousin, some Chinese nationals were arrested, but then they ended up being released by the illegal mining task force. He also claimed that many soldiers who were providing security services to the company, represented by Mr. Gabi Darko, attacked the Inter-Ministerial Committee task force team and damaged the vehicle carrying journalists who were covering the operations. Well, here's Joy News' Erastus Asaredonko with details. He was part of that team. He filed this report 2 years ago.
We drive through roads made by these illegal miners in a once virgin restricted forest. They link one mining site to another deep in the reserve.
This is the Apamprama Forest Reserve, under the watch of the Forestry Commission. Now come with me as I take you through the devastation caused by illegal mining, even within a mining ban.
Many rare tree species nurtured for years have been felled with reckless abandon. At best, the miners process some into planks to construct makeshift sheds. The rest of the logs are buried deep under heaps of earth created around large uncovered pits. The destruction to these virgin forests is huge, over 15 different locations, each about the size of 10 football fields combined.
Several hectares of land destroyed in this manner, deep within the forest reserve. Now, many questions arise at the moment, and some of those questions are, so this devastation went on, and the Apraman Forest Reserve sites are right here. The Forestry Commission says it had no evil, it did not see anybody bringing in heavy equipment. This has lasted for close to a year. No government official got wind of it, or nobody was prepared to even face them.
at one such site in the Cobra Forest. Head of security for mining firm Heritage Imperial Mining Company, ex-WO Adubuatin, told the task force it has the blessing of people he describes as high-powered to carry out operation in the area.
We are here. There's a document. No problem. A minor. You understand? I'm not a minor. So
in the last 5 days, a bold and relentless enforcement of the ban on small-scale mining has led to arrest of 20 Chinese nationals, 4 of them in the Diaso Forest Reserve at the weekend. 10 of the excavators have been sent to Accra and many mining settlements destroyed by the task force. Task Force Commander W1 Isaac Nyako is overwhelmed by the wanton destruction of forest.
indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far at this very site.
Leader of the Interministerial Task Force, Nana Jekum, says the fight will continue. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Well, let's get more on this report. Join me now is Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, you have read through this report, 39 pages. Who else has been mentioned in this report, and what are they cited for doing?
So a number of persons have been mentioned by the Professor Frimpong Watson. It talks about Gabi Asayoti, that once you've mentioned, he's denied that allegations that as lawyer for a mining firm which was involved in some illegal mining, he actually called Professor Frimpong Watson to get this company back into the forest. He also talks about Kojo Ponkoma and a specific role. We know that Kojo Ponkoma has responded, and Professor Frimpong Watson responding to the specifics of the issue that have been raised by Kojo Ponkoma. He says that I've read your response to what I wrote about you in the report I sent to the Chief of Staff over a year ago. You have denied what I wrote, and that is normal. Very few people in your position will own up to their wrongdoings. I have good advice for you, though. When I was part of the government, we were colleagues, and I related to you as such. Now, I will advise you as my son, just as I do my children. After all, you are the same age as my 4th-born son. My advice is, always remember that political power is both short-lived and effervescent. In about 2 years' time, you may no longer be in government, and you may experience the real world as former high-profile political power holders do. I will urge you to do your work diligently and avoid the coded and evil tactics Mr. Paul Adumotre boastfully and unashamedly told the world on Good Evening Ghana that you employ to deal with your real and perceived enemies. He also goes on to say that, in fact, there are some allegations that is going on right at the doorsteps of Kojo Ponkoma, and that indeed someone sent a certain video to him, Professor Frimpong Watson, from Kojo Ponkoma's hometown of Galamsey that is going on, and he's urging Kojo Ponkoma to take that up and deal with it. If you go through the report, he also talks about the NPP's women organizer involved in gold mining for 30 years. The former regional chair was also involved. It talks about one Ekoewusi, who at the time was the central regional chair of the NDC, so MPP. So these are some of the key highlights that are in this report by Professor Frimpong.
Kweku, the NDC hasn't been spared. What allegations have been leveled against them as well?
So there's one allegation about NDC in the Western region and how they have been engaged in illegal mining. He actually says that the NDC have been using the proceeds of illegal mining to win more seats in the Western region. And it's on that basis that he's been asking for some action to be taken on that front as well.
Interesting findings. Now we'll be getting a response from the NDC in our subsequent bulletins, but let's bring in the minority leader, Dr. Kaisel Atuforsen. The minority is already issuing a warning that they'll push for a full-scale probe into this report. He joins us now live. Dr. Atuforsen, thanks for joining us here on Joy News Prime. First of all, you have read through the report. What are your initial comments about it? So you may have to unmute for me so that I can hear you clearly. glitch. Now, let's bring in a former flag bearer of the governing MPP, Dr. Arthur Kennedy, who says for the report to sit at the presidency for 2 years without any action is a blot on the president's integrity. Listen.
I think it's a damning, substantive, fact-filled report, and the idea that it sat on the president's desk for 2 years is unimaginable and unfathomable.
Some have said that it was presented to the chief of staff and that the president may not have seen it. Some have even gone as far as suggesting that if Professor Frimpong Boateng wanted this to gather the sort of steam he is putting out now, then he should have addressed it at the cabinet level. How do you respond to such concerns or comments?
Well, I mean, those saying that are not serious. To begin with, all around the world, everybody knows that when you hand a report to the chief of staff, it is as good as handing it to the president, unless the president wants to say he has no confidence in his chief of staff. As for presenting it at the cabinet level, at that time he had left the cabinet, so he couldn't have presented it to the cabinet. Furthermore, the report itself contains clear, unambiguous instances of him bringing up to the president the problems that the Interministerial Committee task force was having, particularly, for example, with regard to the senior minister, with regard to Sir John, with regard to a lot of others, and the president promising to address those. He didn't. So the idea that if he wanted to be serious, he would have presented it at the cabinet level is really a non-starter, and no serious person will say that. I think that not only that, I actually am happy that we're doing this on Joy News, because you and your reporter, Erastus Asaridonko, did some very brave reporting in which you highlighted a lot of the problems in Galamsey. There were instances where two groups of military people almost came to blows, with one group with the Interministerial Committee, another group protecting the Galamseyers. And this was aired and everybody saw it. So the idea that this report has been on the blind side of the president is really a joke and an insult both to the president's intelligence and integrity as well as to Ghanaians.
Well, let's listen now to Dr. Keisolato Forte, minority leader.
That is the position of the minority, but we will go beyond raising what is happening on the floor of Parliament. Our position is that the revelations coming out called for a national probe. Obviously, Parliament will take the lead, and it is our position to call for a probe into this matter, because what we are hearing, the argument, the counter-argument, the accusations, the counter-accusations, and what are coming out clearly point to a fact that the president's attempt to stop illegal mining was not genuine. And the fact that obviously it looks as if it was a grand scheme to share the natural resources of our country. And so it should be important to us as Parliament to look into the matter. The NDC in the coming days will start a series of actions on this matter. And so you will hear from us in the coming days.
And you say that you trigger this exactly what time?
I can't discuss the timing that we are going to trigger that with you, but I can assure you that the minority will take action on this matter.
Dr. Fostin, it's an open secret, isn't it? When the president himself...
But I don't have to discuss my strategy with you, do I?
Yeah, but Dr. Fostin, it's an open secret, you agree?
So what I'm trying to tell you is that the minority would take steps to call for a national probe. But as to the details of what we are going to do in the coming days, you'll be hearing from us.
Okay, I understand. But the president himself admits that the fight against illegal mining has indeed been a tough one, signaling how there is influence peddling as an unusual norm within the industry itself.
Of course.
What's going to be...
What is happening is a fact. Everyone knows what has happened. It's clear. Obviously, we've seen the fraudulent attempt to fight Galamsey. We've seen attempts where government officials are taking Ghana's natural resources. I mean, you can see clearly from the report that clearly the MPP had a scheme to enter into our forest and destroy our forest in the name of mining gold in an illegal manner.
That's Minority Leader Dr. Kaysalatu Forson speaking to my colleague Blessed Suga. Now let's bring in CDD Fellow Dr. Kwame Asiedu Sapong. He's been following this story for a while now. Mr. Sapong, thank you so much for joining us here on Joy News Prime. First off, you've seen the report. What are your initial thoughts about the minority pushing for a full-scale probe? Is that what we need right now?
Well, good evening. Yes, I would say that we probably need a probe. But the question is, who should be involved in this probe? And why do I say so? I mean, we've seen Parliament try to probe things, and we've seen how it gets so partisan, with the committees being split strictly along party lines. What we are seeing is the destruction of the nation's forests, water, and environmental resources. We cannot approach this with a partisan strategy. And so if Parliament is going to probe this, then they need to give us enough reason to believe that they are not going to be partisan.
What are your key recommendations moving forward from where you sit?
Well, is it about recommendations, or we need to go back to the drawing board? Because the truth of the matter is, ever since this report leaked, everybody has been saying, everybody in the report says that, oh, I don't know what's going on. I shouldn't have been named. But the truth of the matter is, we all see the destruction of our environment. So if nobody knows who is destroying the environment, then we have a serious problem, because we have a president who said he was going to put his presidency on the line. Yet, he responds to this report by saying it's a mixture of hearsay and all that. Today, we see a rebuttal from Dr. Frimpong putting up further and better particulars regarding some of the people who had responded to him when the report leaked. So you ask yourself, can we use this approach to fight Galamsey? And the answer surely is no. So recommending anything under these circumstances to the key players who claim, because now I don't think there's a fight, it's a claim fight, who claim to be fighting the menace, is neither here nor there. We need to go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves as a country, is this what we want to leave as a legacy to the next generation? The generation that actually expects to get more from us. Is this what we want to do? And if that is not what we want to do, then we need to get serious and start planning from the scratch what we're going to do about this.
Well, we'll still be coming to you in subsequent bulletins to get your thoughts on this. Unfortunately, we have to move on. Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asiedu Sapong. He's a CDD fellow. Let's move on to other stories. Now we'll take you to other parts of the country, Techiman to be precise, where the Northern Electricity Distribution Company has disconnected power to the Tien District Hospital for failure to settle their indebtedness to the company. The Techiman area manager for NETCO, John Tahiri, disclosed to Joy News that the facility has for the past 2 years accumulated a debt of over 5 million Ghana cedis. He urged customers in the area to make it a point to pay their debt to avoid getting disconnected. There's more in this report by my colleague Anas Sabit.
Well, the Northern Electricity Department is being owed to a tune of over 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. The Techiman area, as I speak, have its customers owing more than 100 million Ghana cedis. Today we are here at the Tien District Hospital, where we understand the facility is owing over 5 million Ghana cedis. Officers of the Northern Electricity Department are here to engage them, as well as disconnect the facility, and then ensure that they will only connect them after making full payment of this amount. What we are also learning is that the last time the facility paid a dime of its electricity bill is somewhere in 2021. So in a period of over 2 years, they've accumulated this amount. We've been speaking with the general manager of NETCO or VRA in Techiman, Mr. John Tahiri.
This exercise has been necessitated by the level of indebtedness customers, the people who use our power owe us. To start from the base for you to appreciate exactly what the issues are. NETCO is owed over 1.2 billion cedis. In Techima area, our consumers owe us 109 million. If you come to this particular facility, the debt owed us in less than 2 years is 4.2 plus. You realize that if nothing is done about this exercise, it's going to be business as usual. And if in less than 2 years this facility can raise a debt of more than 2 million, then we need to be worried.
NETCO has, since the start of these operations on Tuesday, April 18, disconnected major facilities across its operational areas, and this includes the Nkranza St. Teresa's Hospital.
We have disconnected St. Teresa Hospital in Nkranza. We have also disconnected Nkranza Health Center. Yes, there are 2 hospitals. Then we have disconnected the Bunu East School Room. It's in Kintampo. It is also disconnected. We have disconnected Bedu Hospital on Tuesday. And today we have come to disconnect. In fact, we have finished disconnecting Isoko Hospital.
The message from the VR or NETCO to its customers who are currently owing is that they should hasten to visit any of their offices across board to make full payment or some payments before the team gets to their facilities as part of its bigger plan to recoup all the amounts that have been owed by the electricity generating company.
Yes, we want to make an appeal to all those who owe electricity bills to come forth. They should come and pay before we reach them. If we come to disconnect you, you have to pay all entire bill, including your reconnection fee, before power will be restored to your premises. To avoid such inconveniences, it is better you come forth to make your payment so that it saves all of us the trouble, because this agenda to collect the debts from our customers is not going to stop only after this month. It has become our agenda and it will continue.
From the Tyne District Hospital here in Nsoko, my name is Anna Sabit reporting for Joy News.
We're taking a quick breather here on Joy News Prime. When we return, as Muslims across the world observe Eid al-Fitr festivities, some dressmakers in the Teshiman municipality of the Borno East region lament low patronage of their services. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, as across the world observe Eid al-Fitr festivities, which marks the end of the month of Ramadan, some dressmakers in the Teshiman municipality of the Borno region are lamenting low patronage as consumers are struggling to cope with higher prices and the rising cost of new clothing. There's more in this report by my colleague Anas Sabit.
The cost of living crisis continues to severely impact lives, putting financial pressure on many individuals, families and communities, and tailors and seamstresses are not left out as prices of sewing materials continue to skyrocket, thereby affecting their trade. As Muslims mark the Eid al-Fitr festivities, tailors usually make a lot of money during this period, but the situation isn't the same this year, as they say the rising cost of materials is adversely affecting their tailoring businesses. Salu Mekankan is the CEO of MKK Executive Fabrics. Our customers are complaining due to the rising cost of materials. Everything in terms of the materials we use in line of our work is being sold at higher prices this time around, and so our job is affected in diverse ways. He noted that some clients are unable to pay for their items after they have been sewn due to the high cost of materials.
Some clients
are unable to pay for their items after we are done with them due to the cost involved. Isaac Tabiri tells me that aside the high cost of materials, the sharp rise in electricity tariffs is also contributing to their hardships.
Hey, light today. Hey, light today.
The cost of electricity these days is higher, and our machines are being powered by electricity, so we spend a lot in purchase of power. Yes, we have no choice but to buy, but we are appealing to them to do something about it. Abakar Omar on his part says several others who wish to have new clothes for the Eid are being forced to celebrate the Eid festivities with old clothing due to the high cost of materials in the market.
Last year, and I said that she at least
the prices of goods in the country have skyrocketed. What used to be sold at 60 Ghana cedis a year ago is now times 2, so life is hard these days. There are others who are currently being forced to put on their old clothing because they can't afford new ones. They are all appealing to those in authority to come to their aid by helping stabilize the economy. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichima.
Now let's take you to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where the Ashanti regional minister had advised the Muslim youth to conduct themselves righteously to reduce the worrying trend of deviant practices which hampers national development. Simon Osemen's admonition comes on the heels of an increase in teenage pregnancy, thievery, cybercrime and substance abuse among the youth in the region. There's more in this report by my colleague Emmanuel Bradkweku.
The Ashanti regional minister blames the spate of deviant behaviors on child negligence, leniency of parental control and streetism. He urged Muslims to reflect on the essence of the Eid celebration to conduct themselves righteously in ensuring tranquility and development.
I wish to draw your attention to some other social cankers that have remained a bane in our society. Of much interest to me are the issues of teenage pregnancy, substance abuse, cybercrime, armed robbery, which have reached alarming proportions in our communities. Let me say that some of these deviant behaviors are developed because of child delinquencies, lack of parental care and control, as well as streetism, which were unchecked during early childhood development. Let us use this occasion to reflect on how we can conduct ourselves better for the benefit of the nation. Our conduct should guide the younger generations to shun vengeance, violence, indiscipline, and other negative attitudes.
Representative of the Asantehene, Nana Abdulrahman Bodi, is worried over the affiliation of the Muslim community to misdemeanors in the country.
Musa Mohammed, Ibrahim Tanku, Tiababu Bahari Aquacobo, Kwakuyabu Abacon Afra, and Zongo Paninfu in Nala. Miss Lamonia Hemfo, Mimiamo Hemfo, Ame Batomo, Enginala, Miss Lamo, Money Mano Etna, Namono, Tuamofo, afa Islam som ho na Islam som ye asumdue esom.
Reports suggest the emergence of jihadist activities in neighboring countries, with about 200 Ghanaians integrated into 4 notorious jihadist groups operating in West Africa. Deputy Director of Counter-Terrorism at the National Security, Daniel Osebonso, prevailed on the Muslim community to support the government to curtail jihadist activities.
Gone are the days when people came to live with us and they went to the elders to seek for advice or seek for permission. Now it's done no more. So we have engaged the leaders that they should pay attention, given that there is an emergence of jihadist activities around us. But we know that the bond and the security we have created in this country, it remains robust and resilient.
We're taking a quick breather here on Joy News Prime. When we return, we'll bring you Prime Business to stay.
Hello, it's now time to bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of business. My name is Pakwisi Shandov. To our very first story, Vice President Dr. Bawumia has indicated that government is committed to regional integration despite the current economic challenges. According to him, government remains committed to creating a vibrant, integrated economy within the African continent. He spoke at the 53rd General Assembly of the World Trade Center Association.
The third General Assembly of the World Trade Center Association was held under the theme Towards African Economic Integration and Enhanced Global Presence. The meeting is set to provide actionable insights and various tools for financing businesses in Ghana and Africa. Delivering his keynote address, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said Ghana recognizes the importance of trade and investments in building vibrant economies on the African continent.
Ghana recognizes the importance of trade and investment in promoting growth and development. And we are committed to working with our African partners to create a vibrant, integrated continent. However, we also recognize that Africa can only achieve its full potential with the support and cooperation of the international community. Ghana is fully committed to supporting this initiative and working with the World Trade Centers Association to enhance African investment and trade. Enhancing Africa's global presence requires a concerted effort by all stakeholders, including governments, businesses, and civil society. We must work together to promote Africa's unique potential, attract foreign investment, and create sustainable partnerships that benefit Africa and our international partners.
Paramount Chief of Asogli Traditional Area, Togbe Apede, added that Ghana and Africa has the potential to address challenges related to food security across the globe.
I believe the world can draw comfort from Africa's potential to help solve many of the problems of today, in particular, problem of ensuring food security across the world. Africa is gearing up and is on the journey to fulfill its promise. With 20% of the world's landmass and 60% of arable but uncultivated land, we believe Africa can be the answer to food security across the globe. We have so much of the world's resources, a very disproportionate share. If you just suppose the fact that we command 30% of the world's nominal resources, 20% of the land mass, 60% of land that is fertile but not cultivated, against the fact that we control only 3% of global GDP and 2% of world trade.
Away from that, the International Development Association of the World Bank has made a guarantee payment of $372 million on behalf of the government of Ghana for the 2030 Eurobond. This comes after the country defaulted on its coupon payment on April 14, 2023 due to the debt moratorium announced on December 19 last year. There's more in the following report.
Payment was done on April 20th, 2023. In 2015, the nation faced difficult market conditions. It had large financing needs, high debt levels that were maturing soon, and no access to international financial markets. The Finance Ministry then sought help from the World Bank to meet these goals and requested a policy-based guarantee in combination with a credit from the International Development Association to be able to mobilize the volume of financing needed to settle upcoming debt repayments. A policy-based guarantee was then secured. In this case, Ghana issued a $1 billion Eurobond series due in 2030. The 2030 Eurobond was backed by the International Development Association's guarantee, covering up to $400 billion in both principal and interest. Since then, the government has bought back and cancelled $70 billion of the 2030 Eurobond, reducing the amount of guarantee to $372 million.
That's all for business tonight. My name is Pakwesi Shandoff. Up next is sports.
Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, before we let you go, the chairman of the Northern Regional Security Council, Alhaji Shani Shaibu, has called on residents of the Tamale metropolis to collaborate with security agencies to safeguard the peace of the metropolis. Now, his comments comes on the back of a peaceful Ramadan season devoid of tension between two dominant Muslim sects in the community. Listen.
Very important, because peace would always bring development. If there's no peace, there won't be development, because we wouldn't even have the peace of mind to think about development. And I'm just urging that we don't spend our precious time thinking about how to maintain peace, peace, peace. Because we need that very time also to think about development. But so far, I would commend my security services. They're doing a very good job. They are all on top of their jobs. And we couldn't have achieved all this if we didn't have the cooperation of the chiefs and opinion leaders within the region. Engagement is the best way to solve some of these problems. These are the things that would help us bring about total peace and security in the region. I'm most grateful for government's intervention.
Well, that's it for Joy News Prime. My name is Fostina Sarfo. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a wonderful evening.